I saw a comment last video, or actually the one before that, and what it said was that it probably suggested that I should use a car with more mass in the back, so preferably mid-engined or rear-engined. And I did highlight that in the last one, but the one before the last one, as at the time of this record, I'm sorry if that's confusing. Um, there is a comment by HMD 102, and I have taken that into account. And obviously, it was a bit too late when I first saw it because I had already recorded buying and upgrading the Corvette and all of that. But I will consider something like this, or at least mid-engined. Um, in any case, let's just get this first race out of the way. Also, immediately, I'm sorry if audio is a little weird. I messed something up because I was not paying attention, and now I have no idea if you can even hear me. Well, according to the testing, you should be able to, but it might not be the same. That's really unfortunate. Hopefully, I can not lose brain cells and make sure that that doesn't happen again. This feels extraordinarily twitchy. One thing I thought was odd, the car's pre-tuned in this game. This car, the Diablo, the other RSR, the Unicorn, they're all tuned, in my personal opinion, not to their best abilities. And I know you're like, well, they're the developers, they know what they're doing. You know, who am I to suggest that I could have tuned something better? I mean, not just me, I mean like the whole of the community. I mean, I feel like anyone could have tuned something better than these cars. But I will say this, they're better than how I would tune stuff originally, when first playing this game. My cars were abysmal. I had the deluxe edition on PS4 before I gave my physical copy away. But what happened was, I had no idea how to tune. And up came the event component parts. And because I didn't know how to tune anything, and that was before the AI patch, it did not end well. I actually kind of wish that the original AI and its difficulty was remained the same, because I feel like the game would be more fun that way. But I don't think I should be asking for the game to be more difficult, at least for this challenge. It feels nice to be able to drift around corners when racing. And no, that doesn't mean I support brake to drift, I just mean in this game. Gonna do this outlaw event first. I just have to run the race, I don't have to win it, so that's good. Because that might be a bit difficult here. Oh my gosh. It never gets old. It never gets old. And I think part of the reason why going full grip is so surprising each time I play this game is just because there is a couple days gap in between it. I'm sure if I just, you know, did the whole game in one go, I'd get used to it. But I just can't quite get used to it. And I also notice I seem to make a lot of contradictory statements about how the game feels on full grip. You know, in some instances saying it's broken, and in others saying it's reasonable and not that bad, and just that it requires more thought. And in other times saying like, wow, this car is terrible. I say as I crash. And so I think if I'm to make a final consensus, it depends on what car you're using. It will always be subpar to something like Heat's handling model, or even Payback, because the grip was a little bit better there. But in my opinion, I think I would consider it that it really depends on your car for just how broken it is. It might be less broken, it might be bearable, or it might just be absolutely disgusting. You know, I was saying this to my friend, there is no aspect of reality when considering this game, but there's something that's interesting that mimics reality, albeit it doesn't completely, I guess, display it. What I mean is, when you're tuning in this game, it is incredibly important, and it's so important that whether you win races or lose races can depend on your tuning, which I guess can be applied to real life. If you don't know what you're doing, you can't just, you know, run everything completely stock. So, the point I'm trying to make is, no, the cars don't feel realistic, but it is actually somewhat realistic, the fact that you do need to consider tuning when driving. Alright, I'm gonna do this event and then see if I can get take care of this outlaw mission. $5,000 fine. Watch me forget it. Watch me forget and try to get a $2,000 fine in 5 minutes or $5,000 fine in 2 minutes or something that's not just what it is. Or maybe I'll open it up and use the power of editing to deceive you all so that I can see what the challenge is, then act as if it never happened and there will be no empirical proof in this universe that I did not look at it. I'm a little worried about this race. I remember it not being extremely easy. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not so hard. This is actually the exact opposite of what I thought it was going to be. I apparently have no memory of this race at all. Seems to be a lot of straights and a lot of very easy corners. If there's anything I just need to master with this car, it's how to brake so that it turns in a little bit more just right, just when I need to. This race would be hard, I said. You know, I don't like dealing with pursuits, so let's just get this $5,000 fine thing out of the way. Alright, that was easy. Spawned in this location. Whoa, already we have a cop. Can't remember if I mentioned this before, but one of the most efficient ways of racking up a fine is to repeatedly smash into it. And sometimes the fine doesn't go up. Whoa, what is happening? I'm starting to think it's not that efficient after all. That should have knocked him out. But as a lot of you know, there's no actual cop health in this game. That's one of the reasons why, albeit I have tried the police mod in this game that makes them harder. It's just not a whole lot of fun, because if you can't take them out, then the only thing you can do is just escape, and then they just rubber band to you, so it kinda does take the fun out of it, but what can you do? Alright, now you just gotta escape. And now another cop shows up. Whoa, what the heck? Oh, okay. I thought there was no car there and I rammed into a ghost or something. You know, I think, well, I'm gonna decide to not worry about upgrading this car until the very end, because I have a plan for what I'm gonna do with this. It also leaves us with more money to experiment with the grip car, see if we can get something that's gonna help us out. Component parts. I don't want to do that. I didn't say wrong way for a second there. I'm really confused about what this game is trying to do. If anyone says that you can't drift front wheel drive, just show them this video. This is clear evidence that you definitely can drift front wheel drive. Realistic evidence. If I could say something about drifting in this game, it's almost like there's a little bit of a science to holding out a drift for longer than you think it should last. Like there's a certain way, and I'm not showing you very well right now, but to get up to speed and with a bit of a bigger corner, there's sort of a way you can extend a drift. And I don't really know how to explain it. It's like you imagine you're feathering the throttle, but instead you're feathering the analog stick with how you want it to steer, and I don't know. It's a little odd. Whoa, what the heck? Just gonna ignore that. The plan right now is that we avoid component parts. We completely procrastinate until the point at which we can't any longer. I will do anything I can to avoid it, and until we race component parts, we will procrastinate component parts. We will upgrade my car, or perhaps buy a new one before doing component parts. The rest of this will be dedicated to component parts and the avoidance of component parts. You see, the thing is with that race, it's not that hard in general. It's not that hard if you consider tuning into the equation. It's quite normal actually. But the problem is, we don't have that. These poor souls. Alright, I have a daily challenge if I can do this event. It's one of the few drag races. You know what? Let's do it. Actually, I tried to do this race, but a lot of times to get money. But it got boring real fast. So I basically upgraded and downgraded a car until the point at which the determining factor is my shifting and not just how fast my car is. but I don't actually remember how fast my car should be.
Perfect temperature for maximum grip.
Oh,
But don't overdo it.
all right. Just gonna keep it right there. And a second. Just always faster.
There you go. Now.
How? Basically, just have to hope that a traffic car rams headfirst into that Porsche. And it also seems that my car would probably almost, not quite, but almost have a fighting chance. Some things were not meant to be. Looks like every single event that we've got to do seems to be a something that would depend on a grip card. So I guess that's that for the RSX for now. We've got 152 grand. Let's do the last few races that we can in this car, and then sell it and see what we can do. Before component parts, of course. Component parts is going to be the last race we try to do. Maybe I'll attempt it in this car, and then, yeah, I'll do that. I'll attempt component parts in the Corvette without any further upgrades, and then we can see if I should invest in something else. That's one down. Interestingly enough, although it probably doesn't make any sense to question the logic of this game, why in the style branch would a time attack get the attention of Ken Block if it's supposed to be about drifting? That is one of the many reasons why I question the very fabric of this reality. Oh. You know, I don't even blame myself then. Why do they put the jump there if it inevitably leads to destruction? I am getting used to this car a little bit. Well, that doesn't really show it, but I'm telling you I am. Now here is where I will fully take advantage. Sometimes it doesn't even occur to me that these are time trials. After a certain point, you just kind of just do the event and then you'll end up winning unless you majorly mess up. I've been thinking there might be a way I can actually do a Horizon 3 or 4 Let's Play, but with a type of progression that I would need to figure out. And I have actually tried to do something like that before, albeit not recorded, but just for fun. And I usually, you end up running into a few different roadblocks. For instance, the price of upgrading a car is always significantly less than buying something that will give you the same performance as in buying a car. What I mean is, you know, you will save a lot more money upgrading a car rather than buying a new one, and you end up running into different problems. And I tried a lot of different ways to make things work, and I just couldn't. One of the reasons was I just found the gameplay a little too boring. It doesn't necessarily feel engaging to me personally, you know, on a subjective level. So I'm thinking maybe there's a way I can have a sort of a system of progression, but not in a traditional sense, but one that suits Horizon. And I'm gonna look into that, and who knows if that'll ever come to be. Wow. Perfectly timed.
Robin, heard you're not much talking on the phone. I respect
No!
that. So I'm headed up
Get out of my way, get out of my way.
and let's shred.
Are you serious?
Mad skills for myself.
It was all going perfectly fine just until that last point. After this race, I'm gonna attempt component parts, and if I don't get it in the first attempt, then I'm either gonna go to the RSX, do some more events for more money, or just sell this car and get a new one, or a combination of those two. I actually kind of wish I could play component parts with the Need for Speed Beta's AI, because what happened was there was the beta, and in the beta they updated it so that the AI would be a bit better for launch, and then launch happened, and they updated the AI again. And I know what you're saying, oh, there's NDA. Well, two things. A, approximately 8 to 10 people are going to see this, and the odds of one of them being someone from EA and taking this down is very slim. But another thing is, at one point this was made public. It was part of their Under the Hood articles, or actually before they were called that, I think. It was very early on in 2015, So yeah, somewhere around October to November. If the articles are still up, you can find them. So nothing I'm saying is anything that would not be considered something that I'm allowed to say. So far they're far away, but it doesn't look like they're falling behind. At least second place is somewhat keeping up, and we're running into problems already. I think I need to maintain a ridiculous lead because I know there's a point where there's a lot of cornering, and that is where the pain is going to happen, if it doesn't already happen here. Oh, they're so close. Honestly, this is how I wish the whole game was this hard. That would make it very entertaining. No, that's it. I'm gonna lose. There's no way. There's no chance. Wow. And just like that, almost lost place. Not quite, but almost. This is where even more suffering will occur. Unless maybe I could just bully my way to first place. Wait. Oh my gosh, yes! Wow. That was unfair on my part. I should have lost that one. I very much so should have lost that one. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this event, and then we'll look at getting a new car. Just gonna go ahead and cheat. Now I'm starting to think that upgrading my car might be a bad idea. Not because there would be any incentive not to, other than saving money, but just because why waste the money when I clearly don't need to spend any. Oh, okay. Appears that one mission is just to hit 200 miles per hour, so I'm gonna see if I can do that. I should be able to. This might be harder than I first thought. Maybe I should just get a better car or upgrade this one before I try this. I think here's where we're gonna hit. There we go. Well, in doing that, we accomplished something. What's with the bad parking, man? Okay, we could definitely upgrade this car a bit, but that would be, honestly, that would be just too boring. So I'm gonna go ahead and sell the Corvette and use that money so that we can get something here. We have a lot of options. I am thinking about something that's not front-engined because of the comment that I got some videos ago. I think that'd be a wise idea. Honestly, I don't remember really using the Cayman GT4 at all this game. I actually don't even remember if I ever used it in this game before. So that would be something worth considering. But we have $300,000. We can go to a GT3 RS, 458, the Diablo. These two I've talked about before. Not hard set yet, quite yet. The Huracan, not for drifting, but actually for driving and racing and all that stuff. Or the 570S. I remember it not being that bad, this game. Or maybe even the F40. I know this car is one of the best cars in Heat, but obviously different games, different things apply. We've got so much money though. We're getting somewhat close to the end here, and ideally we could get a car and stick with it until the end of the game. But I think if we do a couple more, we should be able to test out multiple vehicles. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to buy this Cayman. I'm going to buy this Cayman, test it out, because it might actually handle better than some of the other cars. I don't know yet. The next episode, we'll see if we get more comments, see if more people want things to go a certain way or the other. And then we should have the money by then. It's between 2 Ferraris, 2 Lamborghinis. The 458, the Diablo, the Huracan, and the F40. Those four are one of those four are going to be the car that I use to finish the game. The F40, the Huracan, the Diablo, or the Italia. So, It's up to you guys. Right now, just gonna go for the Cayman. Because I don't ever remember using this car. And we have the money anyways. This handles nicely. Wow, okay then. And I haven't even upgraded anything yet. You know what? There's an actual, not terrible, and somewhat suitable wing on a car in this game. That is what we like to see. Here we have the final product. Oddly enough, all things considered, the specs seem somewhat the same in terms of quarter-mile time and top speed. So I'm wondering if, besides handling, if this really was an upgrade at all. I'll do one race event, and then after that I think I'll call it an episode. Oh, this is a dream. Honestly, now I'm wondering if getting a different car will even be worth it, because it's probably not going to be as good as this. So this is the first of the few races we get to do with the Magnus, and I don't have to win this, but I feel somewhat confident. Now the next races are the ones that worry me, especially business or pleasure. That and component parts were the two events that really halted my progression with this game when I first played it. However, this car just feels unreal for some reason. I guess after driving Corvette and other cars for so long, it just eats corners. I mean, granted, it still is a little broken, as is any car with this game's handling model, but I'm really not worried. But I'm thinking that the same thing that happened with component parts is going to happen, where I think it's going to be nearly impossible, and then it turns out that isn't the case. But we'll see. He seems to be keeping up, and this is, if I recall correctly, a significantly easier race than the one that happens after. Okay, he's getting close. Now I'm worried. I know for sure I would not have been able to do this if I still had the Corvette. Now that corner could cause problems. Let's see. Got a mile left and he's pretty close. This car is a success. Here it is. The one thing left that I'm really afraid of, other than the last two events in this game. So, we made a lot of progress, and I think that will do it for... Whoa. So rude. That will do it for this episode. Tell me which of the cars that you want for me to finish the game with. That is, provided that this car isn't actually better than them. The F40, the 458, the Diablo, or the Huracan. Pick out of either of those, and honestly, even if this Porsche is better than them, if you pick any of those cars, I will use them to finish the game with. At least the last two events, I'll do my best with those cars. If I absolutely can't, then I'll go back to this or something else, provided that it's better. But we won't know until then. And until then, see you.